social media platform, but she's basically, saying this is really going to be such a stain on the administration if this is true, if he's accepting a plane from the government of Qatar. So when Laura question about why does Donald Trump need to do this, right?
From another country, and to your point, he's going to take it with him once he's left the White House. The American people, this is really just about him. To think so.
Wouldn't you imagine they would be bugging that plane?
Yeah,
while they're tricking it out right now.
There is no transparency and accountability, particularly where it comes to Elon. So when you combine that with this plane,
it's not just Elon Musk.
No,
Trump's defenders didn't expect this. Even Laura Loomer is turning on him. And when even she thinks you've gone too far, you know something's seriously wrong. Trump's alleged acceptance of a luxury Qatari jet has ignited absolute fury on this panel. And the fallout is just beginning. Stick around for the full breakdown, and don't forget to subscribe for more brutally honest political breakdowns. It all started with a bombshell report. Trump is reportedly about to accept what might be the largest foreign gift ever received by a US president, a super luxury Boeing 747-8 jet from the Qatari royal family.
747-8 jumbo jet. Trump will reportedly use the plane as a new version of Air Force One until he leaves office in January 2029, when ownership will be transferred to the foundation overseeing his yet-to-be-built presidential library. The gift is expected to...
This isn't just a free ride. It's a floating palace in the sky, allegedly being handed over in full. And in a move that's fueling outrage, he'll get to keep it even after leaving office.
This is my question. I know it's kind of naive at this point to ask, is this legal? But is this legal? $5, some de minimis thing? Like, how is it that a president can accept a $400?
Well, that's what it's just about him. And I think about this, people talk about prosperity gospel. This is like prosperity politics, right? That is.
The debate was lit, and what followed was a brutal unraveling of Trump's motives, the legality, and the wider national security threats this poses. The White House's response was flat and robotic, and the panel tore it to shreds.
Trip, which he's scheduled to leave for tomorrow. Moments ago, the White House responded that any gift given by a foreign government is always accepted in full compliance with all applicable laws. President Trump's administration is committed to full transparency. The Qatari government put out their own statement disputing the reporting, saying
no details, no accountability, just a vague assurance that everything is above board, and the panel wasn't buying it.
This after his presidency, and I mean, I hate to say it, but I wasn't really surprised. I'm kind of surprised, hypothetical statement of, oh, these gifts are always accepted. Everything is above board. Just trust us.
This is my question.
This is like prosperity politics, right? That as long as he's doing well and the body sees him doing well, then the body's going to be good. And that's just not the way it works.
Trump's defenders wanted this story buried. Instead, it blew up. Let's be real. This isn't just about a plane. It's about how far Trump is willing to go for personal gain and how silent his party is when it happens. As one guest put it, and this.
Well, I think this is a classic example of the way that Trump has completely blurred the lines between public responsibility and the presidency and his personal private gain. And you've seen this time and time again, whether it is having events, official events at his golf courses, to the tune of tens of millions of dollars, I believe, in some cases. You see it all, even in his keeping of certain documents, right? Like, remember the whole raid at Mar-a-Lago was because he kept government documents. They belong to the government, not to a president. And he refused to give those up because he treats the whole presidency as if it is his office and not the American people's. So why wouldn't
this gift? It's just the latest symptom of that disease.
It's more than $20 or $25, some de minimis thing. Like, how is it that a president can accept a $400?
Well, that's what I say. Anyone who's worked for government, which I have at multiple levels, a $25, $50 lunch is something that you've got to be able to explain to somebody. It's something that you've got to be able to explain to somebody. So the fact that the president is getting a tricked out plane from another country, and to your point, he's going to take it with him once he's left the White House. That has nothing to do with the American people.
Then came a brutal truth bomb.
That has nothing to do with the American people. This is really just about him. And it happens to the ordinary person. What happens to the grassroots family on the ground that voted for him because they thought he was going to make their life better.
I kind of keep coming back.
The mask slipped, and the panel didn't hold back. They reminded us that Trump once supported a blockade against Qatar in 2016, only to now seemingly buddy up for personal gain.
Out there at the White House supporting a blockade against in 2016 when the Saudis and the Emiratis and others led this blockade against Qatar.
Well,
he supported it.
Yeah.
And then somebody seems like they got to him and they're like, wait a minute, Mr. He supported it.
Yeah.
And then somebody seems like they got to him and they're like, wait a minute, Mr. President, you do know that we have Central Command is.
And now the panel is left asking
Interests they may have. But I come back to why the United States' president feels that he needs to accept a gift of this magnitude if he is going to accept it.
Staff people sucking up to him. My bigger question is, what do the other countries expect to get in exchange for it, right? Like we have seen.
because it's never just a gift. It's about access, influence, power.
There is a push from the U.S. government to try to get countries to adopt Starlink, for example. Elon Musk's Starlink, internet satellite service, in exchange for reducing tariffs. So in that case, I understand what the other countries are hoping to get out of the exchange. But for Qatar, for the Saudis, what do you think?
And if that wasn't bad enough, there's also this.
They're asking for?
Here's a fun
What are we
fact
giving
for you.
up?
Do you know which international carrier is the first to use Starlink on their planes? Qatar Airways. So that's
So now the pieces fit. Starlink, Middle East influence, a gift plane, all while Trump sits in the cockpit.
But, I think it's when these countries are looking for their own self-interest, they see, and certainly from that part of the world, they see a president who knows how to talk their language, and their language is business, transactional deals, your interest, my interest, let's get this thing done. So I think
this isn't diplomacy, it's a sales pitch with nuclear codes. And then came the knockout punch.
National security concern here.
I have to think so.
Wouldn't you imagine they would be bugging that plane?
Yeah,
while they're tricking it out right now.
As you said, right, bugging the plane, and as you talk about Starlink.
14 hours flying to that part of the world.
You know what? Don't worry.
That's a good question, a very good point, because the whole reason Trump is looking at other planes to serve as Air Force One is because the Boeing plane that was supposed to be built for the next president is delayed, right? The reason it's delayed, according to Boeing, is because of security concerns. They have to have people of a certain.
So while Boeing demands top-level clearances for security, Trump's apparently about to accept a fully loaded foreign jet from a country he once tried to isolate.
Public health experts. And when the economy collapsed because of the pandemic, well, let's just say
The panel hit boiling point when the real implications started to sink in, and one word kept coming up again and again: security.
Factor in some of these talks as well.
Is there not also, though, a serious national security concern here?
I have to think so.
Wouldn't you imagine they would national security concern here?
I have to think so.
Wouldn't you imagine they would be bugging that plane?
Yeah,
while they're tricking it out right now.
As you said, right. Don't worry.
That's a good question, a very good point, because the whole reason Trump is looking at other planes to serve as Air Force One is because the Boeing plane that was supposed to be built for the next president is delayed, right? The reason it's delayed, according to Boeing, is because of security concerns. They have to have people of a certain security clearance working on that plane, or else who knows what can happen, what could be compromised. So, yeah.
Let that sink in. While Boeing's custom presidential aircraft is delayed over fears of sabotage or espionage, Trump might accept a foreign aircraft built, outfitted, and controlled by another government.
There, we have a huge Air Force presence there. We do all of our Middle East operations out of there. Might not be a good idea.
Panel revealed the creeping web of interest swirling around this gift. Not just Trump, not just Qatar, not even just Starlink and Musk.
And that with this plane.
It's not just Elon Musk.
No, it's not. It's so
Jared
much more than
Kushner's investment firm took $2 billion from the Saudis. Kevin Hassett took $2 billion from the Saudis. Kevin Hassett, who's now one of Trump's top economic advisors, worked for that firm. We don't know what kind of...
A former president gearing up to return to power, flying across the globe in a foreign aircraft possibly fitted with spy tech, surrounded by advisors with deep financial ties to the same region.
Economic advisors worked for that firm. We don't know what kind of back channels they have, and again, what favors they're asking for in exchange.
You know, we've been spending a lot of time talking about
it's dangerous, and yet somehow, in a twist nobody expected, the final line of resistance came from Laura Loomer. When the panel dropped this next line, you could feel the room shift.
Trip to the Middle East like it was back in 2016. And then the craziest thing of all this is that Laura Loomer is the one that's calling out the president. She put out this tweet. I don't know if you...
Yes, Laura Loomer, far-right provocateur, Trump loyalist, took to social media and wrote,
allies of the United States in the region. He's not going to any of those three on this first trip to the Middle East like it was back in 2016. And then the craziest thing of all this is that Laura Loomer is
the irony? Even Loomer, the firebrand known for never breaking from MAGA, drew the line here, and the panel was stunned.
I know.
I can't even imagine this, but you said it perfectly.
I mean, she's now the moderating voice on this, and
even a broken clock is correct twice a day.
Right. But she's also...
They weren't done dragging the hypocrisy either.
It's correct twice a day.
Right. But she's also out here saying, don't cut Medicaid. Right. A lot of our people depend on it. I mean...
And if even Laura Loomer is saying this goes too far, what does that say about the rest of his defenders? Silence. Because they can't justify it. Not the legality, not the national security risk, not the ethics, not the optics. What are they hiding? If Trump accepts this plane, he's not just breaking norms, he's sending a message. That should terrify every American. If this left you speechless, you're not alone. Hit subscribe and don't miss what's coming next. We'll be watching.